Everybody, welcome to today's show. We're going to be talking about EdTech tools to gamify learning. I'm super excited for today's show. I have a whole plethora of different game tools to show you in today's show. So it's really going to be just full bore, learn about all kinds of fun, engaging games that you can play with your students, and also talk about ways that you can do things like gamify your entire class. So I'm super excited for today's show. And also just want to let everybody know that I'm also very excited to have partnered with the Bureau of Education and Research. I am going to be doing a whole day workshop, actually two in April, on April 4th and April 5th, about increasing student learning with education technology. We'll be looking at a bunch of different apps like Actively Learn, like ClassKick, Nearpod, Padlet, and a bunch of different creativity apps as well. And then I also have another show on, or I should say another workshop on May 3rd and 4th with the Bureau of Education and Research as well. What's exciting about those is that you can also get continuing education credit and professional development credit for those workshops too. So that link is in the video description. If you're interested in joining, I'd love to see you there. Thanks as well to today's show sponsors. Restream is one of our show sponsors today, and Restream is the streaming software that I'm using right now that allows me to stream to Facebook, to YouTube, and to Twitter all at the same time and see all the comments that are coming through from every single platform where I'm streaming. I love Restream. You can check them out as well in the video description, and if you sign up for at $10 off if you use that link. And then I'm also very excited to have Annotate as a show sponsor today. Annotate is a Google Chrome extension that allows you to draw all over the page while you are presenting. It does things that other extensions don't, like allowing you to stick annotations on single pages, stick annotations on Google Slides. So I will be showing that annotation tool, Annotate, all throughout today's show as I'm modeling some of the different awesome programs that I'm going to be showing you today. So I want to start here first by talking about what it means to gamify learning. So I know when I first heard about gamifying learning, initially what comes to mind is this idea that you're playing games in class, right? And of course, gamifying learning can mean playing games in class. And in fact, I'm going to be showing a lot about how to play games in class today. But it also can mean that you are taking elements of your class that might not typically be a game, say your day-to-day activities, group work, even just your behavior management system, and you are gamifying that. So essentially you're turning it into a big game. So they can really span the gamut. I'm going to start today by looking at how we can use tech tools to play more traditional type games that we might think of, like scavenger hunts, or different trivia games, things like that, different flashcard games that you can just implement really quickly with your students. Then I'll also move into looking at some specific programs that are built just to play games in and to have some game-based learning. Then we'll also move into looking at some personalized learning game-based platforms where you can essentially set students up to work on their own, learn through their personalized path, and play an engrossing, engaging game that they would be playing conceivably for the whole year, and building, their character, things like that. So I'll show you some of those as well. There's also a field that is growing, you wouldn't be surprised to hear, I'm sure, of games that really emulate video game type experiences for students. And I'm going to show you one that was on Common Sense's top list for tech tools for the year, actually, where students are essentially fully immersed in a game to learn about ancient Egypt. And it looks and was actually designed by the people who made Assassin's Creed, but it's an educational game. So I'll show you that. We'll talk about digital breakout games. And then I'll close out today by showing you how you could use some digital tools to gamify your entire class, where you actually have essentially your whole class is a role-playing game for the entire year where you're assigning experience points and gold, and students get to build a character for the whole year and things like that. So really excited to show you all these different fun tools to gamify learning. And I would just encourage you to take one idea, one tool, one game, try it out with your students, bring some joy factor in. It can be a time of the year right now where it's tough, everybody gets tired. So games right now, gamification, great way to spice things up. And thanks so much, everybody, for coming to the show. I see lots of people adding comments. I would love to hear if you have played certain games or you're familiar with particular game-based learning platforms that you like. Love to hear about those and let us know. And yes, thank you. So this is one right now. Classcraft is actually a game I'm going to be showing today at the end of the show. So thank you, Catherine, for mentioning Classcraft. It's going to come up today. So great to see that. All right, now last week, if you missed the show, what I talked about was some different models for blended learning. And I actually want to make a connection here to today's show because some of the different games that I'm going to be talking about might be more appropriate to do kind of as a whole group. And so this would be in this model, if you're in blended learning, which I know a lot of people are doing right now, where you're kind of trying to emulate what a regular in-person class would be. You are just proceeding through a lesson in a linear vertical fashion. And in the case of blended learning, you might have some students who are coming to that class remotely, while you also have some students in class physically. So I'll be pointing out some of the games that would be maybe more applicable to do kind of as a whole group all together. Then there's also the model that I talked about last week of stations-based horizontal planning, where you are building stations and you're having students doing different activities in those stations. And the teacher in that case could potentially be moving around to those different stations or kind of parked at one station doing small group instruction. I talked last week about some of the different models for what this could look like in terms of groupings and things like that. And so one of the types of games that I will also be showing would be more like these types of games. And in fact, I'm going to show Prodigy a little bit more today. These personalized learning, adaptive learning games that students can play on their own and would be really conducive to station work. And then another model that I showed, which is also this is a great blended learning model in general, does not have to be just for blended learning, could be for just any learning model. And this particular model would have some students working on some self-paced work, and then some other students would be getting pulled potentially into a group or coming over to you to get some support. And so a lot of these self-paced games will work really well if you're having students in this type of situation too. Okay, so let's jump in, and I'm going to start here. We're going to start kind of with looking at more traditional type of games, how you can techify some of those, and then we'll increase in complexity as we go here. So I'm going to start by showing you some awesome game templates that you can get from SlidesMania. And oh, by the way, every link to everything I'm going to show is in the YouTube video description. So if you want to check out the different templates, links, things like that, hop over to the video description in YouTube. You can check all this out. So if you haven't been to SlidesMania yet, you need to go there. SlidesMania is awesome. I know I talk about them a lot in videos and shows, but SlidesMania puts out all these awesome templates that you can use for, kind of traditional type games that we would play with students, trivia games, things like that. But whereas before you might have had to go build your own Jeopardy board, you don't have to do that. She has all these awesome templates, things like 2 truths and a lie. She has, well, actually this one up here is brand new, this trivia game template that you can fully customize and make into your own. So, just for a fast, quick review, going and grabbing some templates off of SlidesMania is a great option. Now, in a similar vein, if you have not yet checked out Julia Dweck's work, she posts all of these incredible Jamboard templates on this Linktree site, which is also linked in the video description. And she essentially is, turning Jamboards into puzzles, different types of games for students. So just to show you an example here, and first of all, these are all free. You can click on them and they will prompt you to make a copy. You have it. You can edit it as you'd like. So what this one is a art detective fraction game. And the way that it works is that students are essentially learning about fractions by solving a puzzle. And you can see already she's doing really cool things, putting GIFs in the background of her Jamboard. But then there are these activities where, essentially the concept here is that there was an art thief and they have to solve this problem by first thinking about, what fraction, he's going to sell if he steals this particular part of the painting. And then they have to do things like, put it back together. And so they're manipulating the pieces and then, needing to figure out here what fraction is left over. So they're doing this, and then they would post a little sticky note here where they would have to put that was 1/4 of the fraction. And then, this puzzle kind of increases in complexity as they go with all these different activities. So she has all kinds of cool things like this, puzzle type, games that you're playing really puzzles, where you are having students interact with different drag and drop activities, drawing things, copying and pasting objects, things like that in Jamboard. So definitely check her out. She has all these really awesome templates. Now, I'd love to hear in the chat, does anybody have Flocabulary? And if not, I highly recommend that you get a trial. So I actually used to pay for my own Flocabulary account because I loved it so much. If you have not yet gotten a trial version, at least check it out. You can get 30 days for free, and then it's relatively affordable to get it on a monthly basis. But I absolutely love Flocabulary for lots of reasons. But one of my favorite games to play with students is the Flocabulary vocab game. So I'm actually going to play this game right now in front of you, so you can see the way that it works and the way that I would play it with students. Now, the idea, if you're not familiar with Flocabulary, they have these really engaging videos that are hip hop videos that are educational. And if you have a pro version of it, a school account, they even have a song maker and things like that. But they have this amazing vocab game that I just love to play to have students review key concepts, and kids get a big kick out of this. Now, I don't have one in front of me, so I brought a little folder, but if I were in class with students, the way that I would play this game is by either teaming them up or having them have an individual whiteboard. And what they would be doing is they would be writing the answers on their whiteboard as they show up on the screen. You'll see what I mean in a second. And then I'm managing it by essentially making sure that everybody has the correct answer and then helping us move through the game. You could do this digitally where students are posting up an answer on Jamboard or even in the chat. There's all kinds of ways that you could have students show their responses. So here, what this is it's a build a beat game. So as students are playing it, and it's going to start playing some music that's awesome. I'm going to let it play because it's super fun. I'll be like dancing with the students while we're playing the music and answering the question. And the way that it works is that as you're playing the game, students show the answers. So I make it a whole thing where I say, 1, 2, 3, show me, and every kid has to show their answer on their mini whiteboard. Again, majority of us get it right. Then we're going to drag the correct answer in and keep going as we build this beat, and kids are all like dancing and things like that, in their seats in class. So this is the way that it works. like some people, okay, I hope you can hear me now, because let me know if you can hear me now that I'm talking a little bit closer to the mic. The sound was too loud. So if you can hear me now, then what I'm saying is basically the way it's going on. Thank you. Awesome. Sorry about that. Is that the sound is building, you're building a beat as you're going. And so with each one, right, you have the instrument coming in, and then you're just continuing to build the beat together. So again, each time I'm having students holding up or they're putting in the chat just to review these different concepts, and then you can hear new beat coming in. And if you play this game, they're involved. Didn't get all the answers correct. But yeah, that's my beat making game. I absolutely love that game, and I apologize for the audio, but you got the idea actually without me talking, that it's just this really cool beat making game. You can get Flocabulary for free for 30 days. Okay. So another one that you can do with students, you can also get this program for free. Many people likely familiar with Quizlet. Same thing. If you have used Quizlet, would love to hear that in the chat. Quizlet is, really easy way to have students make their own flashcards to review, but you can also build these flashcard sets essentially that students can study, and then they can also play games and compete with each other. So they have different games that, like this gravity one, very popular, where very simple, kind of based on, it's almost like an old Atari type game where, and I would always go with answer with term, where basically what students are doing is, as these are coming down, they're going to be answering the question. Okay, like this. Now, I don't actually know what my own answers to the questions are. Let me see. Sorry about that. That's okay. What it is that we have some words and some definitions. The idea, you can get it, is that they are answering with the words that are flying down, right? So these would be the definition. Okay, so we have like autonomy is the correct definition of that word, right? And then as they fall, then they're losing points. They get up on a leaderboard. They can play against each other. So again, like this is a basic Atari type game, but it can be a really effective way. Kids absolutely love competing against each other and playing this game. Okay, so that is Quizlet, which is also super popular. Now, another thing that I would love to hear is whether or not anybody does typing with your students. So typing is super important for students. It's an incredibly important foundational technology skill, and a lot of students don't have a specific class to do it. So I would always make sure that I was trying to integrate some typing practice into my classes as well. Typing Club is awesome for this, also free, and you can have students progress through all these different lessons, and then they have these little fun games that they would be playing as they are typing. So this is also, nothing particularly new. This is all the kind of stuff that, I did when I was in school, but much better than just having students kind of doing regular practice on a more boring program. So if this is something that you need support with, having students be able to touch type, great program for teaching that, and it gamifies it as well. All right. Yes, and thank you, Catherine. Appreciate that. Actually, that's a good, do not use capital letters unless you have students, that, because they're not going to type in the capital, right? That's the issue. So yeah, there's all kinds of little tricks you'll find out. And it does look as well like there's a lot of people who have used Quizlet as well. Okay, Lucia, I'm going to start taking some questions here because I know I got a lot of questions coming through. So if you're talking about this last one, here, this gravity game. This is Quizlet. So what you do here is you start with some flashcards. You basically build a flashcard set. And so you have, if you go back to your library, you have different flashcard sets. So I made this one. Then you can assign it to students. Students would be able to practice them. They have all these different activities to practice, and then they can play a game as well. All right. And then looks like one more, build your own Flocabulary. So you can build your own Flocabulary song with the School Pro account. Flocabulary has different tiers of pricing. You can buy an individual teacher account. I do really love that feature for the school account where you can actually build a whole song. So just like we, built a beat, students can actually take a beat and they can make a song to that beat. It's pretty cool. Okay, now next, this is kind of leveling up a little bit. This is a program called Breakout Edu. Now, breakout games have traditionally actually, were done with a kit, and you can still get a kit where you actually have a physical breakout room kit. Breakout Edu, definitely the program that you want to check out for breakout room kits. Breakout Edu also has digital kits. If you're not familiar with how a breakout room works, essentially students have to work together in teams, and those teams could vary depending on what the style of the gameplay is. But essentially they're solving puzzles to proceed through a game. So you can see on Breakout Edu that they have all these different subjects, and you can also choose if the game is digital or a kit. Now, one caveat with Breakout Edu is that the majority of the breakout games do cost money, but there are a couple on here that don't. And so I'm just going to show you what those look like. So this is actually a faculty meeting. This is supposed to be for team building for teacher PD. And it's kind of funny. So I'll show you just so you can see an example of what it looks like. So, you would essentially assign people a team, and then they would be breaking out of their room by opening these different locks, right? And so each lock has a different puzzle. Now, they're all intended to be, sort of difficult here. So, if you look at, for example, this page, and you see here, one second, you see how you have these different people, right, who are speaking, and each of these is supposed to represent a different opinion, essentially, that they are expressing, right, about a student. And then that has been put into this word cloud here. So actually, let's see, does anybody know what the answer to this lock combination is? See if you can figure out what the correct color order would be. Okay, so we'll see if anybody can get it right. I know I'm on a slight delay here, so if people put it in the comments, it will actually be after I show the solution. So basically what this is that you're supposed to look at this, and you're supposed to be able to tell here that, oh, we have some of these different comments are comments that are shown with slightly larger words. So for example, we have to start engage, which is blue. That's the bigger word. We have fun, which is slightly smaller. So that's the next in order. So that's purple. And then we have, let's see, student is green, slightly smaller. And then we have challenging in red for the next level. So that opened that lock. So you can see how each of these has these different locks that you would be opening, and some of them are pretty tricky, and they have all these obviously for academic content here as well. Okay, now next tool that I want to show everybody is now getting into a different tier, and that is Quizlet here. Quizlet, Quizizz, my apologies. I literally always say that. I say Quizlet when I'm talking about Quizizz because I always used to use Quizlet. But Quizizz is another very popular quiz game. If you're familiar with a program like Kahoot, similar to Kahoot. So these types of game-based learning programs essentially allow you to either choose from pre-created question banks, or you can write your own. And they typically are using multiple choice type questions, right? So you might have quizzes that you're making that are multiple choice and then some fill in the blanks, and then you can gamify those, right? So let's look at a couple of examples here. So you can start in Quizizz by going here to quiz, go to create, and you can make your own quiz. Okay, that's one option. You basically essentially do your own. You can also look and see what's already been made. So they have a huge question bank here of all kinds of quizzes that you could pull from. So I'm not going to make a quiz right now. I'm just going to show how this would work. So you would open it, and then you can either assign it to be something that's live, or you can assign it to be homework. So here I'll do a live quiz. We're going to do, I'll do classic pace here, and we'll start this quiz. So just like any of these other types of quiz games, the way that this is going to work is that you're going to get students into the game. And they will do that by going joinmyquiz.com, and then they will enter a class code. So here they would just enter 427585. Anyone on the show want to join in and play a game as well? You can if you want to see what it's like. So this game, we have now students coming in. I see somebody else came in to play, and we're going to start the game. And after I start the game, we're going to have some questions pop up on the student board. So student is answering. There's music. Hopefully I'm talking close enough to the mic now. We got the music you can hear. And you can see as the answers are coming through that they're starting to show up on the leaderboard. It has all this engaging music and stuff, right? So that it's fun for students as well. And I see that some people coming in to participate too. So you can see this is all, it's got little power up stuff like this. Just an engaging way for kids to be playing these different games and trying out this different stuff, right? To be able to put the information here. Now you'll notice here that on my side it says that a power up has been unlocked. They have different things, where you can do some of these different power-ups so that you get double points, things like that, as a way to, add a little bit of game within the game, right? So again, you're seeing on my teacher end, all these students who are coming in, I can see how they're doing stuff like that, right? So this is Quizizz, super engaging game for kids, and I appreciate that you are all jumping in to play. So this is another one here. Okay, I'm sorry about the music. I apologize. I'm trying to. I will keep that in mind. I'm gonna play the music for a little bit and then I'll turn it off. I'm trying to play the music so you can see it because it's part of the game experience. It's part of what makes it fun. But I apologize that you're having trouble hearing me. So I will definitely keep that in mind. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So here is another game that's similar. Called Gimkit. Your kids hate the music. Fair enough. I appreciate it. Gimkit is also a multiple choice fill in the blank style game, except Gimkit has a much more built out game inside of a game component. So I'll show you what I mean by that. The way Gimkit works is that you build a kit. A kit is just basically a set of questions. And you can, if you have some already made, you have them here. You can also make your own. So here, with new kit, what you would do is click on new kit, and then you're going to give it a name, call this one demo kit 2. And then you can choose a little cover image if you want. And then here you can either put your own questions in. So you have some different options like that here, you're just writing your own. You can kind of have it auto create questions with this flashcards function. The best one I like is the question bank. And that's just because there are so many pre-written questions in here that are great that you don't really need to necessarily write your own, or at least you should check first to see what's here. So, let's say, for example, that you're going to do a geography lesson, and you are going to here have, students answering different questions about different geography. And yes, I see the comments about the music, so I will make sure that the music is turned off now. So what you will do is add these questions, and then those questions will come in. They'll be a part of your kit. You can click Finish Kit. And then what you can do here is go Play Live. And you'll have all these different options for different types of games that you can play. So it's not just limited to, the types of like a kind of singular quiz type game. And you have all these different options that have all these different types of games within the game. So the concepts are still going to be the same, where students are going to be answering questions, but as they answer questions, they'll be able to do all these different actions within the game. So I'm going to play this infinity mode here to show you what this would look like. You can see that you can start with all these different settings, about how much cash students start with. And that's kind of conceptually what happens, where they're going to be earning cash, right, as they play. So you can choose that they would either have some cash or no cash. And then just like we did with Quizlet or Quizizz, I'm going to keep doing that. You can jump in if you want. So Gimkit Live. And here I'm going to go over to Gimkit Live, and then enter the class code 99107. And if anybody wants to jump in and play, feel free to jump in and play as well, so that you can see how it works. So here, it's going to tell students a little bit about the instructions. Don't worry if you don't understand, it doesn't matter. Kids will get this before you, where they will understand all of the different things that they have to do in the game. Okay, so we're going to play yes to start, and kind of make sure that the sound is turned off there. So please, let me know if that sound is still coming through. Shouldn't be anymore. So here you can see that on, the student end, that I have just a basic question, right? So here there's a question, right, that I am going to be answering on this side. And then on the teacher end, I can see all my students, right? All my students are coming in. And as my students are coming in, obviously I can see their names here, and I can start to see their progress through the game as well. So if you all are in, you want to start answering questions, you'll see that you're going to start to accrue money as this game is going through. So if you get them correct, then you're going to start to accrue cash. Music on the game is fabulous. Okay, here, I'll play it for you. So yeah, you can see that it's super dramatic game music for the games too. Yeah, I do love the music component. Okay, now as you're playing, right, you can choose to continue here. So we are, let's see, get the needs. Okay. And eventually, as you start getting more and more cash, you can continue or you can go in and you can shop for things. So if you go to the shop, you'll see that there are things here, upgrades that you can make, so you can get more money, for example, per question. So if you start to accrue more, points that you're getting correct, then you would essentially double like the amount of money that you make. It looks like I can't buy it because I don't have enough money. So you're going to be prevented, obviously, from doing that if you don't have enough. You can also go here to items. So in this case, the objective is to collect these infinity stones, and those can be purchased with cash amounts, right? So here I'm going to buy one, and then when you're actually in the game, you can activate these stones. So here I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to acquire the stone. You're going to see over here, as students start to acquire the stone, that they're going to move up in the leaderboard. Now, different games in Gimkit have different types of rules where you can do different things like sabotage other people. There's teams like humans and zombies, and they're attacking each other and restoring each other's points. So that's what I mean by game within a game, where yes, the concept is the same, that you're essentially just answering these questions, but there are these games within a game that you have to play, like in this case, accruing, stones, and others damaging each other's health, things like that. So yeah, very engaging games as well on Gimkit. Gimkit also does cost money. They do have a free trial period, but then it's something like $5 a month after that. But would highly recommend checking out Gimkit too. Yeah, I agree that Gimkit is totally worth buying if you're going to buy a game. All right. Now, next one is that I want to show you is Blooket. Now, Blooket is also a game within a game. And what I like about Blooket is the fact that you can essentially, it's continuous. So students are not just logging in with a single login and then like losing their progress. They can build throughout the whole year, and they get to collect different items and power-ups and things like that accrue as they play a game. I think games like that, where you can have students who, I'm just laughing because of the comments. We need to see you one. See, adults love gamified learning too, for sure. I love it. These games where you can accrue things over time, I think those have a lot of longevity potential for your class, because kids get really invested in that idea of like, you're building something out. So if you're interested in that, Blooket is good for that. So here you can go to Discover Sets. And we'll look at, this is going to be interesting. Let's play this one. We're going to do Name That Logo. Okay, we'll see what this is. All right, so again, if you want to hop in here. So just like Gimkit as well, Blooket has all these different game types that you can play, right? This is a new one, this tower defense one. Factory is one where you get to do these cool things like sabotage the other screen, and it will like flip it and turn it around, or it puts all these what they call annoying hashtags out on people's screens. We'll see it when we play it. They have a racing game that's fun too. But let's play racing. Let's see how that goes. It's going to be an exhilarating, suspense-filled action game. Okay, so if you want to join in, just like you did before, jump in. And sorry that I'm cutting the games off short. I know people are deeply invested in whether or not you won. I apologize that I'm, cutting you off. So you're going to go to blooket.com/play. This, by the way, is a student dashboard where you can see how they can see cash that they've won from previous games, all this stuff about all of their different stats over time, right? Okay, so we're going to jump in here and we're going to start to play the racing game. And then once I'm ready, we are going to jump in. Now, I do see, just before I hit start, I'm waiting for some people. Can you create a game? I do not believe you can create a game. There are some where you can create games. And in fact, part of Gimkit allows students to like build a kit and build a game. But I don't believe you can do that in Blooket. Let me know if other people know something differently. I do not think you can do that. There are lots of platforms though where you can have students actually build games. Okay, so let's play. All right, so I'm going to start, and what we're going to do, we're all in race mode, and we're going to be racing. So, whoop. All right, let's see how we do. I'm terrible. Oh my goodness, this one has, I picked one with 27 questions here. Okay, so here we see we have a power up. So like this power up that I have, right? It's just like Mario Kart. So I can hit that, and then when I am back, on, then I can choose. Ooh, sorry, who's winning? Ooh, sorry, winner. I'm gonna knock you back. Sorry about that. I see some people have used some other power-ups like wind ones. Let's see if I can get a different one. Okay. Spicy pepper, 3 questions are worth double. Ooh. Okay, so this one's going to get me ahead now. All right. Okay, so you get the idea again here as well. I feel like this, I chose a very long game that's going to take us forever to actually get through. I don't want to make anybody angry. If we don't get a winner here, we'll see if we'll play it for just a little bit longer, see if we can actually get a winner. But you get the idea as well with this game that, you can set it up like this one to be a race, but they have these games that have totally different in-game play, right? So as people are still playing the race, I'll answer a couple of questions. Yeah, so this is, and Maria, you're saying that you can import a quiz, like a set of flashcards into Blooket and turn that into a quiz. Because if that's correct, then that is awesome. And yeah, sorry, the code is up here. I apologize if you want to get in 707981. Apologize for that. So you can see as well, right, that, and sorry that I was covering it, that you can still, be able to get into the quizzes later. That's another feature that's useful. Now, you can see on this one on the right, because I have assigned an account, that now I have these different things that I can do after I've played the game. So I have these token bonuses here where, I can continue to add to that bonus. And then I can go to the market and I can purchase things. So, this is something that's going to stay with me. And, I keep all of this in my account as a student. And you can buy these different blooks that you continue to keep over the course, of the whole school year, essentially, that you're playing it, and that you can even sell them and things like that. So it has all these game inside of a game functions that are pretty cool. Okay, so I still have so many games to show. This is getting very exciting here. Okay, all right. So another game that I really think is highly valuable, and this is now starting to get into different style of game play, is ST Math. Now, ST Math traditionally a game per se. What it is really a personalized learning platform where you can either assign students to practice math on a personal path so that they are practicing skills that you need them to practice, or you can set up what's called a class path, where essentially, you have them doing work that is on their level. I'm sorry, along with what the class is doing. Now, the way that ST Math works is it's essentially conceptual math learning. So it doesn't give any directions, and students just have to figure out how to do things. And so the idea is that they're building conceptual understanding of math. Now, ST Math is not free. I do want to put that out there, but I do think it's a program that can really move students in their math skills. So the way that it works here is that, you can see this is Gigi. It's a penguin. And the way, you'll see on the screen, there's just different things that students would have to press. There's no instructions here, right? So essentially what they have to do is they have to figure this out, right? So the student has to look here and see, okay, like Gigi is on this number of blocks, and I need to try to push this box over. And essentially what this is math or subtraction, right? So if I'll do it here and then press this so you can see what happens if you do it wrong. It'll show like, nope, that's not going to work, right? So then you have to do different things, and students have to play around to show different conceptual understanding here, so that they can continue to build their conceptual math understanding. So this is ST Math. Again, this is the type of game that you could have students play all year. They can essentially build their whole sort of portfolio of different skill development in ST Math. So if you're a math teacher, highly recommend that. Now, another game I showed, and I'm bummed that I won't be able to play the music here for this game, is Prodigy. I showed this briefly last week, but Prodigy is another math game that is it's a adaptive math game that's essentially like a role-playing game. So if you've played Zelda when you were a kid, has a very similar look to that. And what you do here is, you can set as the teacher certain skills that you want students to practice in this game. And then it's this whole, essentially role-playing type environment where students are, basically playing a character. They can even choose their avatar. This part of the game, this is in the beginning of the game, where they choose a pet that's going to be their companion. And then the way that pretty much everything works in the game is that they have these different battles and things like that. And in these battles, they're going to be practicing skills. And I see, this question about algebra 2 trigonometry. So you'd have to check and see whether or not, I'm sure you can do some more advanced math in something like Prodigy, but I'm going to show actually a resource where you can go find really specific games for subjects that you teach. I don't know for sure whether or not you can do advanced math in Prodigy. If somebody does know, let me know. Okay, so here, you're solving problems, right? As a way to, it's already like too advanced math for me. You're solving problems as a way to continue to proceed through the game, right? Please, somebody please tell me what the answer is, so I don't have to try to solve this right now in my head in the chat. And then what you're going to do is essentially, attack or take hits, things like that, as you are playing the game. Right. So that's the way that this game is going to work, where you have different problems. You're going to proceed through a different, oops, sorry about that. I just went back. My apologies. Proceed through a game as students are practicing these problems. Okay. Well, that was a way to get out of it. Thanks. Was it 13? No. Okay. Well, I don't know. We'll never know at this point. I gotta actually look at the problem. If you've ever watched any of my videos, I never do math problems correctly in the videos, and sometimes I get called out about that. So I did not want that to happen there. So I avoided that. Yes, 1.3. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Now on to another one. Those were some examples of some personalized learning games. And I know there was a question about, different games for different specific skills. I'll show you that in a moment. Now, this is kind of another area where games are going. I mentioned this in the beginning, where it's actually really video game style games that are educational. Pretty much all these cost money. There are loads of them for iPad. Again, I'm going to show you where you can get games like this. They have them for all kinds of skills, though. They have This one that I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to play you the video because it's pretty compelling. This one is for ancient Egypt, but they have these games, that you can play to learn science skills or even social emotional skills, things like that. So this is a reviewer from Common Sense. It's a 2-minute video. I want to play it for you just because he explains what you can do in this Assassin's Creed educational game and kind of how it works. It's pretty incredible. Hold on, sorry, gotta get my sound off all these other games. That's the problem with all these games I got going on with sound. Hold on one second. Okay, hold on. Technical difficulties while I get all these other ones off. Hold on. Too many songs playing. Okay. All right, here we go. Hope you can hear it now. I'm sorry. Sorry about the sound issues.
Welcome to the Agora and Thermal Bath.
He was saying it's a compelling learning experience.
Cyrene's Agora was the public marketplace and political hub of the city. Its central courtyard was open to the sky, while market stalls and shops ran along the sides.
The Discovery Tour feature is a free part of Assassin's Creed Origins, which is available on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Ubisoft also promises that the Discovery Tour mode can be purchased separately. The tour is separate from the main game, so you don't need an existing save or anything. Combat is removed, you can't attack anyone, and no one attacks you. The controls are simplified and are way more accessible than the main game. It shouldn't come as a surprise that the world is super dynamic, with people continuing on their own 24-hour cycles doing all kinds of interesting, historically accurate things. All told, there's 75 tours and each features about 2,000 words of historical detail produced by historians and Egyptologists. To go on a tour, you can navigate to points of interest in the world or just find them on the map. You can fast travel to any of these tour starting points and all are accessible right from the beginning. Tours light a path for you through the world with the help of voiceover narration.
The Cyrene baths were fitted into an underground tomb dated somewhere between the 8th and 6th century BCE.
The points of interest and narration are supported by text as well as media from museums. Tour information is recorded in your passport for easy reference.
Okay, so again, yeah, and thank you for some of the comments about the sound. I will definitely look into loop back. Thank you, Katie. Just managing all kinds of different audio inputs here, but appreciate your patience with that. So all he was saying in the beginning is basically it's awesome, as you can see. And like I said, there are lots of different games like this now. I did see one question about whether or not Patricia, you can play this game on iPad. So you can't play it on iPad. That game is actually only available for a PC console, I believe also PlayStation and maybe Xbox. So that would be the type of game where maybe if you had, and I know this is not something that a lot of teachers have, but if you have a powerful PC console in your classroom, then you can have that as like an activity students can do, can be something you suggest that they do at home. That's a huge barrier to that. But I just wanted to show it to show kind of what's possible. And that's not even getting into virtual reality experiences, which, are like that, except like fully immersive, and could be something else. If you had a standalone PC, you could hook up a VR headset to that and have students experience that. Okay, so the last one that I want to show you here before I show you Common Sense, and I know I'm going a little bit over time, so appreciate if you're still hanging around, is Classcraft. And Classcraft is a gamification tool that's going to allow you to do some gamification with elements of your class that are not necessarily game based. So when you hear people talking about things like school year long leaderboards, where students are kind of in a game for the entire school year, Classcraft is a program that can help facilitate this. So it's too complex to be able to show how it works in a short overview here, but the general idea is that you're going to have all your students here, and these students will basically be accruing all these different points over the course of the year. Very similar to, this is kind of like Final Fantasy role-playing style game where you can assign different points. So for example, you can assign experience points. So the way that would work, is that, let's see, you can set these up to be fully customizable. You have a behavior management system, and for example, you want to give students points for being positive and hardworking. Then you give them points and they accrue points there for that. They have health points and gold points here as well. And then they also all have individual powers that they can turn on, that they can use to support teammates, things like that. Now, yes, I'm seeing in the comments, you can also do things like create quests. So quests look like, this is one example of a quest. And they have pre-built quests, and then they also have quests that you can essentially make. And so these quests will, you can turn these into personalized learning experiences that you assign just to some students or groups of students or everybody. And then these become different activities that students move through. And of course, they're accruing different points and things like that as you are proceeding through the quest. In addition to quests, they also have different things like boss battles. So boss battle allows you to preset questions, and then you can match teams up, and it's like a formative assessment tool where they're answering questions and accruing points for that. But then they also have these other little, tools for just different things that you need in class, like random name pickers and timers and things like that. So it can really be this, it's kind of in the background as this, role-playing game that your class is playing, in class and even out of class as you're having them, say, go and do homework and like a quest or something that they're doing. So, just to show you the boss battle here, you can set up a boss battle. So, the way that this works, you go here, you can choose the boss, give the boss a name, boss demo, I'll call him, and, you give him health points. This is if you want to fully customize it yourself. You can add your own questions. You add the, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to just show you one that I already made here. Sorry about that. So you can write your own questions here, assign health points for each of those questions. You can have different options here. So for example, you can choose what they would be awarded for winning this particular boss battle. Right. And then you can assign the boss battle to students, and you can assign it to just single students. You can assign it to teams. So you can set up these teams, random teams. You have, teams that different team names, right, that you can put together. You can just assign it to individual students or students at random, all kinds of stuff. It's, again, merits an entire show just to show everything that's in here. Obviously this kind of tool is going to take a lot to set up. And I see, it sounds like, yeah, there's a lot of people in the comments who have used it. It's a lot of work. The kind of thing where if you built it and did it the first time, that's going to take way more work. Then you can duplicate certain things over, like quests, and repeat them over and over. And, in some ways, this tool, Classcraft, is kind of similar to doing something like a class economy, right? I talked about that in a previous show where, you kind of have an elaborate class economy, but that's kind of ongoing all year, and students are winning money for doing certain things and purchasing things with that. And this is like that, except in a role playing environment, right? So that is Classcraft, and that's kind of on that whole other end of thinking about how you can gamify your class and turn elements of your class that are not necessarily a game, like just regular work, but you're giving them points, and there's this ongoing leaderboard to really gamify your entire classroom and not just be doing, say, game-based learning. Now, the last thing that I got to pull this comment. Yeah, I agree. Classcraft is Class Dojo on steroids. Definitely, yes. Would agree with that statement for sure. Okay, so last thing that I want to show you here is common sense. I know I refer to common sense a lot, and if you have not yet checked out Common Sense, you need to. Why? Because they have incredible reviews. So if you go to EdTech Reviews on Common Sense, it's a great place to find out about new tools. It's a place I go if I hear about a tool, somebody has suggested something to me and I want to learn about it, then I go to Common Sense and see, is it vetted? Is it a good tool? So if you search games, you'll see that it has things, for example, like most engaging games in class. They have different subjects. So you could search, I know some people were asking for math specific games. You can look for that. It'll pull up lists. And then you can get reviews of them. You can see how much they cost. You can see whether they're for tablets, if they're web-based. And something that I was not able to cover in the duration of this show, but they have all kinds of tools for students to build games and make games too that are great for computer science. So I highly recommend that you check out Common Sense and look for some subject-specific games as well, and check that out. Now, before I go into Q&A, do just want to thank again today's show sponsors, Restream, right now allowing me to stream out to multiple platforms at once and see everybody's comments that are all coming in from every different platform. I got people coming in from Facebook and YouTube and Twitter that I'm able to engage with all at the same time. That's awesome. And Annotate, that I've actually been showing throughout the show, allows me to do cool things like this little laser pointer. And also cool things that I love that I was mentioning, like the ability to draw on a page and then that annotation sticks on the page. So notice when I scroll down, it is still there. And when I go over to another tab and when I go back, it is still there. It even does that on Google Slides. So it is an awesome tool. I even love just this ability to do like a little quick erase rather than having to go and manually erase everything. So thank you to both of our show sponsors. You can check out both of those tools in the video description below. Okay, so I'm going to hop over here to Q&A. I saw that there were lots of questions and comments. And if you asked a question, way before and you have one now, then go ahead and put it in the comments again, in the chat again, so I can see it. Okay, so here looks like, I'm assuming this question is about Common Sense, just because for when it came through, correct me if I'm wrong, Common Sense is free. You don't need to pay for it. You can donate to Common Sense. You may be asking about Classcraft. Classcraft has a free version, and they also have a paid version. So it depends, if you want all the feature upgrades. And thanks, Carl, for the suggestion about Class Economy, pay grade. Yeah, useful program for sure to help you build, that full Class Economy that goes beyond just like student jobs and gives you that ability to have students accrue money and purchase things over time and stuff like that. And yeah, I agree as well, Carl, with the comment about Classcraft requiring management, but being worth it. Yeah, and this is Catherine. Thanks for the suggestion. This, I'm assuming, is about Classcraft, where you take a nonfiction article, you turn it into a quest. So very cool. Yeah, so this is a question about full in-depth tutorial on Gimkit for sure. Actually, put out a couple of weeks ago a video about my top tech tools in 2021, and Gimkit was one of those. And I plan to do a tutorial for every program in that video. So Gimkit is coming. Yeah, so where did I get the annotation tool? Annotation tool, thanks for the question. That is in the video description. That is Annotate. That is one of our show sponsors. And it also, I made a video called How to Annotate with Google Slides showing this as well. So that's Annotate, and the link is in the video description. You can click on to get it. Free extension, has some free features and some paid features, but you can do what I'm doing now for free. So yeah, check out Annotate. It's awesome. And like I said, does really cool things like sticks them on the page and even sticks it on a single Google slide, which is really cool. So thanks for the question. Yeah, and thanks so much. I appreciate the positive feedback. Yeah, I would, again, just encourage people. I showed a lot of different types of games and a lot of ways you could think about game-based learning or gamification to try something out, whether it's just that small beat game where we had the, sorry, the sound issue again, but super fun game. And you could try that out. Doesn't take really any planning, but your kids will really get a kick out of it. I mean, it looks like a lot of people are trying out things like Classcraft, in the chat, and hey, you could still roll something like that out end of the year. And actually, it's not a bad time to trial something like that, to demo it, see how it works before you roll it out at the beginning of the year. So it's not too late to try out some of that stuff too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the show today. Really appreciate it. And just a reminder as well that on April 4th and 5th, I am going to be partnering with the Bureau of Education and Research to do a full day workshop that you can get continuing education credits for and professional development credit for, about how to increase student learning with education technology. I'm also going to be doing that workshop on May 3rd and 4th. If you're interested in that as well, I would love to see you there. And next week, we are going to be taking the week off for spring break. And then after that, I have a whole calendar of awesome shows that I am really excited about. The week we come back from break, I'm going to be showing you all about how to use Wacom, which is a digital pen tool. I've been getting so many questions about how to use that. So I'm going to be showing that, and I'll be showing how to do that with a lot of really popular programs that people like, so that you can learn how to use a stylus for a lot of the programs that I know that people are using. And I have a lot of other exciting shows coming up as well. So look out for those, and we'll be back on in 2 weeks. So have a great spring break if you are on spring break, and I hope to see you at the next show. Thanks so much for coming, everybody, and have a great evening.